Live from Break Free Worldwide headquarters in Houston, Texas. With your host, Jeremy. And B-Boy Moy. And joining us tonight,
Yeehaw! Howdy, y'all.
We back.
Welcome to Break Free Worldwide Podcast, episode number 29.
29.
What's up? My name is Moy.
And my name is Jeremy.
And we're glad to be back.
That's right. It's been a minute.
Yeah.
But we've been busy. We've been on the road, taking care of business, doing a lot of things.
But that just means we got a lot of stuff to talk about.
That is. We got a lot to talk about.
We got a really special guest in the building today.
He's not really that special.
He's like three reallys, two
just
reallys.
A guess.
Yeah, he a guess. He
a guess.
I guess. Right.
I guess we should introduce our guest now.
Everybody make some noise from San Diego, California, Monster Energy, Jose Gonzalez.
What up, what up, what up?
How you feeling?
I'm good. And by the way,
What's
my
up?
mom thinks I'm special, so I don't care what you guys
That's
think.
good.
That's all
She's
that
the only
matters.
person that can think that, because we don't think that.
That's all that matters, right?
But, yeah, let's get this.
Yeah, how you feeling today?
That sounded
I'm good. I'm good.
Welcome to Houston for the...
I like Houston.
You should move here.
I should, huh?
We talked
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah.
Houses are bigger.
Mhm.
They're
Everything's bigger in
everything's
Texas.
bigger. Mhm.
they're cheaper.
Everything.
Yeah.
Everything.
Man, I'll just sell you my house. We
I
can
got
do
a
business.
shed. I got a shed in my
Yeah?
backyard. Yeah.
Build something nice.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
and your daughter and your pregnant wife can.
Yeah, I know.
You got a new baby on the way, man.
I know, yeah, September. Got a little boy coming.
Congratulations, even though
Thank
we told
you.
you congrats already.
Yeah, kind of nervous. You know, I have a little girl. She's super sweet. This kid's still in the belly, just bouncing around, man.
My son likes your daughter.
Oh.
All right, well, it's nice talking to you.
That's why we brought you on.
Yesterday, Jose was like, "Hey, Isaiah, you know who I am?" He was like, "Yeah, you're Luna's dad."
Yeah. I'm no longer Jose. I'm like something else. Yeah.
Better watch out, young Isaiah.
Oh
Yeah.
man, yeah. Hey, at least he has a good head on his shoulders.
He does.
Mhm.
He knows about investments.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
He makes beats.
He makes beats.
Yeah.
He's
Spends
a
your money.
reliable little kid.
Yeah, he's reliable.
Yeah.
I'll trust him with a lot that I wouldn't trust him adults with.
Yeah.
Not gonna
Speaking
name
of
him.
adults that we don't trust.
Shout out to
Cosmo.
Cosmo.
Hey, Cosmo.
You look good today, man. But it's not about you today. It's about Jose. So.
Yeah, man. So, for people that don't know, tuning in, watching,
Mhm.
you know, you work for Monster Energy.
He's a hidden gem.
Yeah, he's a
Jose
hidden
is
gem for sure.
For sure. Yes.
So you work with Monster Energy. We've been working with you for a long time,
Yeah.
and we've done some amazing things, cool things, a lot of things that are still growing and are still in the process of just getting better
Yeah.
as the days go by. And I say days because literally we talk every day about just trying to build what, you know, the programming that we have built with you guys and you
Yeah.
guys have built with us. And so
Mhm.
tell us a little bit about your start at Monster and what you do there, et cetera, et cetera.
So I started with Monster by coincidence, really. I started just in what we call as a MAT team,
Okay.
which is our local ambassador team, just driving around the pickup and just sampling Monster, kind of what we call
So you were
peer-to-peer.
handing out drinks.
I was the guy in the truck, hey, you want a Monster kind of thing. And it was back in the day when it was 2004, when Monster, just people didn't know what Monster was.
In San Diego.
In San Diego, yeah.
That's crazy.
You just go, hey, you want a Monster? They're like, what's Monster? It's an energy drink. They're like, what's an energy drink? So we had to like educate consumers about what it was, the category, and all that. I worked there, and it was a lot of fun, but it was just part time. Then I went over to events, and I grew up in events, and I did a lot of different roles there, and that's where we met.
So when you speak about events, you know, because I know, but
Yeah.
the people that don't know, like what does that entail?
Good
Like,
point. Yeah, events it's Monster does. We don't do any kind of print or TV commercials or
No
billboards or
advertisements.
that sort of advertisement. We do a lot with events, and we activate at events. We have huge activations where we expose consumers to our brand, and I was the guy building it.
Yeah.
Building the rigs and the truss systems
Yeah.
and the stages. And eventually I moved up to the guy managing the event and then doing a lot of the logistics and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
because you mentioned right now, like, when we first met, I remember meeting you at some of these events, like, let's just say 2013 or so.
Mm-hmm.
And every time we would see you, you'd always like dip in and dip out because
Yeah.
you were there so early setting up the entire activation.
Yeah, first guy in, last guy out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in between, you just kind of be doing like just managing the whole project. And
So you went
Yeah.
straight from the mat team to events? Or was
Yeah, I
there
went to the
something-
mat team, and then while I was in the mat team and during the summers, I would go on tours like Ozfest and Warp Tour and stuff like that. And that was a lot of fun. It's just a 2-month long party. But those were fun, and I did well, so I just kept wanting to do more and more.
yeah.
So, and then as I did more, the events I would focus on were the multicultural ones, and we consider breaking as part of multicultural. So I would do a lot of events with breakers. At the time, I remember it was just Moy.
Yeah.
It was just our breaking team was him, and what we did with Break Free. It
Yeah.
was small, and then
Yeah.
it slowly grew to a total of 5 guys,
Yeah.
including Moy,
Yeah.
and then the rest is history, I guess.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and I want to talk about that too, because before we were working with somebody else at Monster, and things panned out,
Yeah.
and we were able to do as much as we could. But literally, when the transition happened, and when you came on board, you went like 1,000% in.
Yeah.
And I remember you specifically talking to me and was like, what are your needs? What are the breaking community needs?
Yeah.
And how can we attack this fast?
Yeah.
Because you were like, I dig this, I
Yeah.
want to be able to support it, and I believe in it, and so like immediately when you came on board, we just started to do more.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
like, do we need new guys? Do we need this? Do we need that? Let me know, and I'll continue to do whatever I can on my end to make sure that I
Yeah.
can get approvals for different things.
Yeah, I definitely saw something in break, and we always have. So
Yeah.
the reason we started with break is because it fits
Not
the brand.
always, because I remember first reaching out to Monster, and they were like,
Nope.
we don't
Well,
sponsor
yeah, it took a little convincing, but once we did, we started doing more and more.
Yeah.
I think it's just it's outside of what Monster usually does. It's
Yeah.
not motorsports. It's not our wheelhouse. But it's raw. It's very athletic. It's cool.
It's extreme.
It's extreme.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I've been able to do more and more every year, because we are able to prove that with the team, with what the breaking scene is doing, and I legitimately want to help the scene. I think it's a cool environment for people to be in. It's there's a lot that it has to offer to people.
Well, he spoke about for clarification, so when you started with the Monster team, there was somebody different in charge than Jose.
Yeah.
And then it switched over to Jose,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
then you saw this change and kind of what everybody sees now and what everybody knows as Monster and everything we've done since then has kind of been like the Jose era, let's call it. You know what I mean? And I like to use it as an example of I think it's a good point to bring up. Like if anyone is out there is questioning like what it takes to establish something, or it doesn't even have to be a sponsorship.
And I don't want,
it could be just about establishing anything, a partnership, and it goes along with trust and you proving something and you putting in the work and humbling yourself to know that you're entering a whole new world. Like you're known as Moy in the community, but you're stepping into Monster Energy, which is a world where you have to prove your work first.
Yeah, and
you
I
kept
want
proving and work, and then you got the trust of somebody who came on board.
Exactly, and I want to
backtrack.
backtrack a little bit too, because I don't want to discredit. And I want to say his name. His name is Ryan. Ryan, who was on board before. I don't want to discredit anything, because every foundational element matters in terms of building something. And so I want to give Ryan credit for all that. But in the beginning, it was very, very tough for him to get approvals on things, and so
because it was new.
It was so new,
We didn't
so it
know
was
what
like
it was. It's even internally within the organization. We have to.
Everything has to be justified.
Yeah,
you know?
we have to convince a lot of people. Like
Yeah.
we go to the events and we see them and we interact with you guys, so we see how it fits. We just got to go and sell that internally.
And so, I want to just again credit that, because it's an important, vital piece of
The building block.
of everything.
Yeah.
But definitely, since Jose's come on board, let's call it the Jose area, right, of Monster and breaking. But literally, just took a foothold on everything and really started making things happen. But even even when Jose came on board, it wasn't like it was still easy because there were still so many obstacles and for people that are watching, they may see it like, oh, they can look at Monster Energy, oh, it's a multi-billion-dollar or multi-million-dollar company, they could do whatever they want. So it's not really that easy, because at the end of the day, if you got big wigs at a company, they want to know where every single dollar goes, right? Yeah. So from even from my end, I always told Jose, look, whatever it is that I got to do to make sure that we can prove this concept or prove that this program works, I'm here to do it. Yeah. And Jose was like, I'm there with you. And so we've done so much work on the back end, and this is why, you know, him and I have a good business relationship and personal relationship in terms of what we're doing, because we know the work that it takes to build something. Yeah. Right. So there's honestly, the only expectation we have of each other is like, whatever we got to do to get it done, let's get it done. Yeah. And a lot of that is really just figuring things out as we go. And so for a lot of people, they may look at it, they may think that I stepped into Monster already everything set, you know, and that's not how it was.
Yeah. And we each have a role in this too. Because I rely on Moy to tell me, and you too, and the rest of the team, like, hey, what's relevant in this space? You know, I'm not gonna go into breaking as the all-knowing, and this is what we're gonna do, because I feel like a lot of brands have done that, and especially this community, breaking community, sniffs out.
Well, I've made it a point since I've been on board to make a couple of different posts on social media about this, but this is a lot of stuff that
you shared one the other day.
Yeah, exactly. That people don't see in the back end. Like, they see what's on the surface, and they can give positive or negative energy or whatever, but I think it's great that you come on this podcast, because we're able to share, and if people tune in, they really get to see like why we're doing this and why the program even exists, you know. So there's obvious things like, you know, it puts money in artists' pockets, it proliferates the brand throughout the scene and things like this. But there's also things that people don't know, like, and it really only can be told by people who are in it, like us, you know. But I guess the only thing I can say is trust us when we say this, is like, you and then everybody else on Monster on board with this. They're not in this. Monster is not in this to like take from the scene. Like, it's all. And why you said other brands can do that? Like, I think people need to pay attention to that, and it might not be as obvious as people see, but there could be other people within the scene. It could be brands or just people in general that it might seem like they're giving things, but they're really just taking for their own agendas.
And if you look at just the history of Monster's involvement in the breaking scene, Monster has always sponsored events. Monster has never created a breaking event. Yeah. Right? So they don't have support. They don't have a control of an event to say, hey, we are taking control of this community by our event, and this is what we're doing. Yeah. And they're coming in and supporting tiny events to bigger events. And they've been doing that for years. And I remember when Monster when they came to me, and then they were talking to me about just different ideas about activating, and I said, hey man, just continue to pour in, because we want to be able to prove to the scene that like we care and we're not taking, you know, because it's easy for the breaking scene, because the breaking scene is so raw. Like you said, they sniff things out. Yeah. So everyone's a culture vulture. If you're not a part of this culture, you're a vulture, and you're coming in to take in what do they want. And so it's easy, and I don't blame anybody for it, because it's easy to point the finger and say, this is what they're going to do, because, you know, it's corporate America. It's corporate America coming into this underground world.
You're not digging deep enough if you're saying that for the wrong people, because that's an overused term, I think, culture vulture. You know?
Yeah, for sure.
But if you do your research and you really look beyond the surface and you really see things for more than what they are, and you really do the time to do the research, you'll see that you can be able to tell, like, the writing will be on the wall, who's doing this for the right reasons and who's doing this for the wrong reasons.
And I think the community does need it. It's at a point in which it's maturing, so it's not this super underground world now. It's coming out. Hip hop is no longer this edgy, scary world where, like, we're old, we're parents now, and we listen to it, and now we're exposing our kids to it, so it's okay now. Yeah. And being part of the Olympics is a huge deal. Having brands like us, like Monster and Red Bull, and even Adidas kind of coming in, that's helping the community. Yeah. And I think that there's a few vocal people that aren't allowing that. Yeah. But I don't understand why. It's
personal
needed.
Agendas.
personal agendas. Maybe they're scared that they're being left behind.
Yeah.
It needs to grow. It needs to grow. I think it's cool. I think it's athletic. It just needs it. It needs that pump.
From your perspective, like, what do brands look for when it comes to, seeking out artists, sponsorship, whether it's artist, athlete, whatever you want to call it, call us or whatever, but what do brands typically look for? And I want the perspective to come from your experience working at Monster,
Yeah, it's a person, right? So it's how do they represent themselves? What is the B-boy, B-girl X? Like, how do they hold themselves? How do they kind of manage their own brand? And also, how much do they expose themselves? So if it's somebody that just is out in the public eye or competing once or twice a year, what's the point? As a brand, we support somebody that is also exposing themselves. So someone that's very active in the scene. Yeah. Obviously, someone that wins a lot, especially for a brand like Monster. We have winners. We associate with winners. We're a badass brand.
Yeah.
So we want somebody to win, but it's somebody that knows how to win and knows how to lose too. It's important. And honestly, down to somebody that's just professional.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of athletes, a lot of b-boys that just aren't professional.
That's a scary word for the b-boy scene.
It is.
Professional.
Yeah, but when I mean professional, somebody that can write an email.
Yeah.
Someone
that's
that
another scary word, email for b-boys.
and that's it has to mature. The scene needs to mature for it to grow.
So
there's opportunities. There's so much opportunity for people to make careers out of this. It just as a whole needs to grow. And it needs more Moys and more Jeremys that kind of see the vision of it, and they're able to use their art to grow.
Yeah, so basically, it's much more than talent. It's a combination of understanding yourself as a brand and how you promote yourself, how much you care about yourself. Because a lot of people may think, oh, I'm dope, I don't need to do this, I don't need to do that. But at the same time, it's like if you have a fan base or people are looking at you, that they want to make sure that brands want to make sure that you're keeping up with them and engaging with the fans and building your following, but also, professionalism is a key. And I know you and I have talked a lot because I know you come to me a lot for whenever it comes to whenever we want to recruit. I don't like to use the word, but recruit. But whenever we want
the team,
expand is so much better. Like whenever we want to expand the team, we always talk about who can represent the brand, who fits the brand, who do we know that we can be or who can be reliable and we can rely on. And cares and is loyal, because I think for us that is one of the biggest key variables is loyalty too, because we want to be able to trust in somebody that we don't have to constantly tell them how to rock the logo or how to do this and how to do that. So I know that's a big deal, and that's a big deal for me. I'm not even in your position. I'm still a sponsored athlete by Monster, but why it's a big deal to me because I've been there from the very beginning.
Yeah.
And I knew the work that I had to put in to make sure that we're all in the same place of getting this opportunity.
I know you said this on the podcast before, but kind of remind the audience how you your whole beginning backstory into.
Yeah. So I'll be very, very straightforward. So I've been breaking now 24 years and work. I know, right? And I remember early 2000s. Red Bull came on the scene and started sponsoring events, and for a long time, they would contract me out to judge gigs and do this and do that. And I remember when I opened up Break Free, Red Bull approached me about possibly coming in, and I just
it's around 2012,
2011, and I remember they were trying to do a deal with me, and I it just didn't work out. Like bottom line, it didn't work out. It didn't work out for me because I don't understand how I can work with you for so many years and you can only offer me this. And from a business perspective, it just didn't make sense for me. So I would hear Monster a lot. Didn't know a lot about it, because I only heard Red Bull a lot because I was involved with these events, And so I'm like, yeah, man, Monster's a good idea. So I reached out to the local team here, actually Paul Palacios, who used to work at Monster.
He was in Southern California.
He was in Southern Cali, yeah. He
Shout
worked
out to Paul if he's listening.
Yeah, he worked directly at headquarters, and he connected with me with Ty and D-Ray, who were part of the local team here in Houston. And I told him, hey, man, I got a center. I got an event. How can we get involved? And they were like, man, this is tough. I mean, we've never done this. Like, we've never sponsored breaking events. We've never done any of that. And so they ended up sponsoring a very small, like, little deal for Break Free, and started like that. And then I remember I'm like, this is gonna be the next, Red Bull or better. That's how I looked at it, because it's so fresh. And I always saw, when I started to learn more about the Monster brand, I love the edginess and how rough it was. It really, like Monster, this is what b-boys want to become when they cypher, when they get down. And so I remember I'm like, man, I'm gonna write a proposal, because the worst thing that they could ever tell me is no, right? So I was like, I wrote a proposal. I really legit created like a 6-page proposal about how it would look from a financial standpoint, from a community standpoint, corporate standpoint, like every single angle I covered in this. And I remember I was able to send it to Paul, and Paul got it to Ryan at the time. And I remember getting back to where it was like, no, this is a great proposal, but we don't sponsor b-boys. Like, this is not what we do. And so I said, and I remember sending Ryan an email, and I remember sending D-Ray and Ty an email. And I was telling them, I was like, hey guys, if you guys have any like product, any gear or anything like that, I was like, I'd love to rep anyway. I think the brand looks cool. And but there was a mission behind it, right? And I'll get to that in a second. And they were like, yeah, man, I got a couple hats at home, and I got a sweater. Ty was like, yeah, I got a hoodie. I remember he said he had a hoodie. And I remember he gave me a hoodie and a shirt, and then D-Ray gave me 2 hats. I've been traveling around the world for years, and I remember everywhere this is kind of where Instagram started coming alive too. It was brand new. Yeah. And I remember everywhere I go, I'll just hashtag Monster Energy, Monster Energy, Monster Energy, Monster Energy. And so people started to ask about it. People thought I was sponsored. And then I remember, I released an app, a tutorial app. Mm-hmm. And then I remember in the app, I don't know if you knew about this, but in the app, I'm all monstered out. So people were buying the app and learning like basic breaking and all this stuff. And I'm all monstered out. I even put like product placement for like the videos that I shot, like branding. And I remember like 6 to 8 months later, I remember getting a call, and I was in Colombia. With you guys, and Ryan had left me a message, and he was like, hey, is this Moy, blah, blah, blah. Like, I would love to get on a call with you, man. I think we're ready to move forward on it. And I was just like, wow, this is crazy. They were like, we've been seeing all these posts, and, it's awesome. You don't have to do that. And since, as a kid, my parents always taught me just do more. Just do more, do more, do more. So that's all I was doing, is just kind of just showing, improving, and showing, improving, and showing, improving. And I come to find out that once we kind of came to a deal and worked out that this was going to happen, like, they were going to sponsor me. Once I got sponsored and kind of signed the deal with Monster for the first time in 2013 officially, because literally between 2011 and 2012, I was rocking for free, like really trying to make this happen. And all of 2012 was really trying to finalize a deal for 2013. Yeah. So it was a long process. It was not like, hey, even though when I got that phone call right there and then, it's not like I got a contract right there and then. Yeah. It was like a whole year-long process before I even got a contract. And I remember signing a deal, and then just since being at Monster, I've learned everything to show improve. Yeah. Like, you really got to show improve, and you got to do more, and you got to do more, and you got to do more. And that's why I've always told you guys, I've always told the team, like, always do more. But that's how I got started. I got started simply getting told no, saying, hey, give me some gear. Rocked it like I was sponsored. Everyone hated on me. Yeah, everybody. To this day, there's legit organizers of some of the biggest events in the world who would laugh at me because they were like, this brand in our community is not ever going to work because Red Bull, has it on hold, on lock or whatever. Mm. And I'm like, well, it's a good opportunity, so I'm not going to give up on it. And the rest is history.
I think a good thing to take from that, what I first think of when you tell that story, is like remaining steadfast in your vision. And also, like, specifically when it comes to stuff on social media, which is even bigger nowadays, is you were making posts consistently, even like you didn't know that they were watching or liking,
No.
like, and he told you when he made that call, we've been seeing them the whole time. So
My
like,
go-
you never know.
my
Who's,
goal-
you never know who's watching.
My
you
goal
never
was
know.
just to create a buzz. Like, I wanted to create a buzz.
Yeah.
And it came from different places. Like, it came from revenge. Like, I felt like if Red Bull didn't want to work with me and give me a good deal for Break Free, then I was like, okay, let's do this. You know? So that's kind of, so I operated off of, like, I wanted to create something new with somebody, and I wanted to do something fresh. I loved the Monster and what it represented, the brand. I told you, like, I loved how rough it was because we come from such a raw and tough community that it made sense for me. And then I needed to create something. I didn't want to give up on it. I've always been that way, and you know, that's why Break Free exists, and a lot of things that we do exist. Even till this day at Monster, we're constantly trying to create something new to keep the concept and the idea of this program fresh. So we're building, you know, and so I just wasn't afraid to get told no, and I wasn't afraid that, you know, if I put in 4 years of my life devoted to a brand that wasn't paying me or anything like that, then I was just, at least I tried. And just like you're saying, it's staying steadfast to the vision. Is just like, hey, I never wanted to go without saying I didn't try.
Yeah.
And I did. And now to this day, we got a team of 9-10 people that, you know, are sponsored, and you guys are supported by a brand that cares, and we get to travel and compete and, you know, live pretty good. And I don't want to say it like in a very cocky way, but like, to be able to have, you know, your flights, your meals, your hotels, stay in nice hotels, and do what you love, it's already a big win. It is a big success already, you know.
Yeah.
Not even taking into consideration what an athlete is making or what a b-boy or b-girl is making, you know. And so that is already a big deal, because before we would struggle to save money to go to an event, and you know, and the breaking community is such a economically challenged community already, and I think it mostly stems from us b-boys trying to be too raw and too cool for corporate America, and why I think there's always been a hesitance of why corporate companies don't want to get involved, because this scene hasn't stepped up more. There's been individuals in the scene, and those individuals are the ones that get sponsored. So it's not to say that, you know, even though I do think that our team is elite, it's not to say that other people aren't elite. They just haven't figured out how to connect the dots to make themselves
The
sponsored,
formula's there.
you know?
Yeah. And when you started, also Monster was different.
Yeah.
It was
a
way different.
young company.
Yeah.
It was new. We're experimenting. So what you did was even harder then.
Than
and
what it would be today.
Than what it would be today. And also the scene was different too.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like now it's growing. I see it. I see it from the events all the way to the position I'm in. I've seen the community change and grow, and it's gone through its growing pains.
Yeah.
And it's cool. It's cool to see it, and you've become honestly just such a big force within the community, and that's why it's so great to work with you and have you kind of guide us and let us know what is relevant within it.
Yeah.
I think, you know, you hear when people talk about like, oh, why is that person in this position? Or I wish this person was in that. Man, if there was a right person in that position, this would happen. Or if I was, you know. And I think, like, I always, when I hear that, like, I just can point right by my side and be like, man, look at the team we have now. Look at like, even just relating to Break Free and everything we built with Break Free, you know, and everything with Monster and Break Free is always being pushed together. And if people know, like, even pre-Monster, before, like, what Break Free and the foundation of Break Free is,
And
all you got to do is look at that foundation to know what we're going to produce.
And speaking on that, like, even because you bring up, you know, that partnership, Break Free and Monster, I've always made it a point that Break Free has been a good partner to Monster. It's never just been Moy, even though that people may look at me as like Moy, but it's always like Moy and Break Free. Even if you speak to people at Monster, you know, people that work with you closely, it's always like Moy and Break Free, Moy and Break Free. It's never just Moy. It's just, and I made an effort to make sure that this was not just me, that it was a lot of people that work at Break Free that helped me execute this job or this partnership. And speaking on that, it's crazy because people are always going to point the finger for so many different things. Even recently, I've heard nonsense things, like just nonsense things, like, Moy's pocketing, making tons of money off of Monster, and I'm living this crazy life, like I'm a millionaire or whatever.
Because you'd be flexing on Instagram, that's what.
No, I mean, dude, I worked hard.
Like literally, you'd be flexing.
No, but literally, like, I've worked my butt off, like, to be able to, like, be where I'm at. And I'm not saying I'm at this high level, but coming from where I come from, and only dancing and only breaking, and when people told me that breaking was never going to get me nowhere and all that stuff, I wanted to be able to showcase some of my accomplishments, right? Or let's just say buying my house. Like, that's a huge accomplishment to me because I bought it strictly off breaking.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
The same thing.
And that's the thing is, like, so I'm not showing off to show off. I'm showing off to motivate some people. It may hurt some people, but if it hurts them, it's because you're looking at me for the wrong reason. You're not looking at it from a positive standpoint to be like, dang, he did this all off breaking. But you're only seeing my connection with Monster, saying, dang, he must be making millions of dollars and he's able to do this.
But you know what? We even heard that before pre-Monster whenever, like, I remember in particular, it was we hit somebody up to judge and we offered them the rate, which is above normal rate. What we offered judges, we still paid good back then. And they're like, "Oh, come on, boy, you're getting that government money, bro.
Yeah, you got break free, you got government money, you got that Monster money.
Yeah,
you should be able to pay me this.
Yeah,
government money.
Yeah,
because he affiliated our work with kids, and like we must be getting government funding because of our work with kids. And
but yeah, again,
people are going to say that is people always talk.
They're always going to talk, and
it's
not true. And hold on, I want to say this because there's a lot of people that are talking. There are a lot. There are some specific people that should not even be opening their mouths because they have no position in our community to be able to say, like, this is who this guy is. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. And if people knew me closely, you know me, I've always been about, like, doing more for everybody else and less for me. Like, it really has been. Yeah. And in so many different ways.
So when you get attacked in that way directly.
Dude, it bothers me. It bothers me because I'm not that way. And it bothers the people closer to me, like my wife and all these other people. It bothers them more because people weren't around when I would show up to my house and my lights were off because I couldn't pay my light bill. You know what I'm saying? They weren't around for those things. But it's easy to look at where I'm at today, right? And the things that I'm building today, whether it's Break Free or Monster partnerships or whatever, or extending opportunities out to other people, and be like, damn, this dude is this, that's whack. He's taking this from the scene.
You've put in the work. But Break Free's been around since 2011.
2011.
Monster, you've been working with Monster since 2013.
Unofficially,
but
since 2011.
So it's not an overnight success, and it's not done. It's still growing and it's becoming something else, but it's not something that happened last year,
right?
Or it's not anything that happened last year that made you be this successful, or anything that's recent. It's a culmination of everything has happened, and decisions that you have made 5 years ago, 10 years ago.
And I've always made it a point too. It's like even with Break Free, and us building Break Free, I mean, I've always made it a point to expand our team at Break Free and extend those opportunities. So if people knew closely what was happening, they would feel very guilty if you are talking about what we're doing, because you can look directly at the work at Break Free and be like, wow. You can be like, dang, these people are banking off that, or you can see like, damn, they're impacting so many lives through hip hop.
Yeah,
but it's okay.
You choose, right? You could choose however you want to look at it.
They can keep talking though.
Yeah, it is.
So you're watching.
It is what it is, man. But like, I think working closely with you too has taught, and working closely with Monster has also taught me a lot about business, and has taught me a lot about wanting to do more and building more and expecting less. And I think so many people nowadays expect so much but want to do less. So I'm on the other side, wanting to do more and expecting less. You know what I mean? Because I understand the show improve concept.
Yeah, I don't know if it's expecting less, but it's you put in the work.
Well, maybe
and
it's just
you reap the benefits later. It's not like if you want me to do that, you got to pay me ahead.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
especially with a community like this, it's you have to show
Or specifically,
what its worth is.
what I brought up earlier, especially in this community, to be like, well, I'm this guy, and I've been doing it for 20 years, and I've won this battle, and I,
Yeah.
using the clout from.
But it's like it's not a big community. It's not basketball.
Yeah.
Like it's still not a household name. Like it still needs to grow, and it's at the point where it's still growing. It's still small.
From your point of view, what of like now that you're fully like into the culture and you've gone to all these events, you've seen it, how has your perspective changed? Maybe even from before, like even like just knowing about breaking as from a general public point of view, and now being into it, and even further into that when you first got into how it is now. How do you think your perspective has changed?
I'm starting to see, especially from when we started working, I started going to the events to now. It's the changes, the conversations that are happening within breaking. It's almost like they are these breaks and these rifts and like I said before, like these growing pains, because you see the struggle of what's going on Facebook and Instagram. They're having issues with certain people are selling out, where other b-boys are saying like, I want to pick up more sponsors. I think we need more brands to support this, because there needs to be an influx of money coming in to better promote, to have better events, to allow these guys to train, because there's talent. So if these guys have more resources to train, they can do more, and the scene can get bigger, and the talent can get better. So there's this side of breaking that's, no, we don't need that. We still need to be raw, and you're not a b-boy unless you're poor. And then there's the other side, like you guys that see,
Pretty
hey,
much.
we have a brand that is willing to help me out. And that those conversations are starting to happen, because NASCAR doesn't have those issues. Like nobody goes like, oh, you're selling out. It's like, it's part of it. Look where it is now. Look where football is.
It's probably like, that guy has 32 sponsors. Could you believe it?
Yeah, but I don't think
I have 47.
It's just driving around a dirt track
So
in the desert somewhere, keeping it real.
yeah, there's the one NASCAR driver, keep it real. But my point is
You ready, Tom?
Billy Bob.
Yeah.
Breaking's never gonna be that. It's never gonna be. It's never gonna get to like where basketball is. But there has to be a comfortable area in which it needs to play in, and I think it's starting to reach that and starting to kind of get traction on that.
Well, it's a niche, so like people shouldn't expect it to get to. It's gonna take a whole different path, and
it's gonna create its own path. Yeah, you're right. It really is. But those conversations happen, and I hear them more and more.
Yeah.
Even at events, when you guys show up, it's obvious at different events how you guys are embraced, and there's other ones
You've seen it firsthand
in certain
how we
parts
roll.
of California where you're not.
You've seen it firsthand.
Yeah, where I've seen it where it's like, oh, here comes the monster b-boys.
Man,
over
but
here.
see, I want to publicly say too, because a lot of people like to say this and that about super crews. Like you might have heard this word thrown around, like, oh, this all-star team, they got this advantage, or they have this backing, and then they have an advantage because they. But I seriously think, and I've told this candidly to people on the team and to us, but what people don't understand is competitively, like the Monster team, we go against, like we have the odds stacked against us. Like we have our talent.
Yep.
Everyone on the team is talented, but what people don't understand is like the scene and how it's built. There's like this side, and everyone, even if you're not on this side, you're affiliated with this side, and there's a certain people who are on the judges panel, and these people aren't really messing with Monster and Break Free in this side. So I see people talking like, oh man, Monster lost this battle and they had an advantage, and it's like, well, people, you really dig deep, like, nah, pretty much every battle we enter, the odds are stacked against us, bro.
I 1,000%
a lot of
agree.
different factors, from people expecting so much, like, because, oh, well, you're Monster B-Boy, so if there's one tiny slip up, I'm avoid, this way. Or the people on the judges panel have their feelings about corporations, or they might be affiliated with another corporation. Like, this is the things people don't see. So
I 1,000% agree with you, but at the end of the day, we're still very successful in so many different ways.
Mm-hmm.
So they can feel whatever they want to feel, act however they want to act, and it's true. I agree that I do feel like the odds are stacked against us, but they can't deny the success of what is displayed by what Monster is doing in the
Yeah,
breaking scene,
I think what
and
you
by
guys
some of our guys.
what you guys have done as I mean you two, but also as the Monster crew, I'm including Maka as well, is rattle that cage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you guys have rattled the cage, so different brands and
We're a
and
threat.
different-
Well, let's
At the end of the day, I think we're a
but the
threat.
people have to regroup. People need to understand, like, hey, now it's levels are getting elevated. Like things that are expected from a competitor are changing. So which is great. I think is what it needs.
which let's talk about like Maka. You know, she just came off winning the Red Bull BC1.
Yeah.
The queen.
The national
Yeah.
championship for B girls in the U.S. and so
Shout out
like that
Maka.
was a big deal because you know you're going into the Lion's Den. You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
it's
as a monster athlete.
as a monster
Yeah.
athlete, and for her to win, it's a big deal.
With one arm.
Yeah, with one arm. We'll get to that in a second, but you know, for her to win, it's just an awesome
Yeah.
moment an awesome thing for Monster, for herself,
For Maka, yeah.
for herself and who she is and what she represents for B girls.
Man,
And,
if I could talk specifically
So-
too about her and what
and
she did,
her
man,
dance style.
What she
Her
that's what I was
dance
about
style.
to say, man, it's like, and people will talk again. People will talk and they'll say they thought this person won or something. Not everyone's gonna feel your style, but like if you know what dance is, like just remove breaking, remove whatever it is. If you just know what dance is, and at the end of the day, breaking is a dance. Everyone knows that.
Wait, I thought it wasn't a dance.
break dance.
It was-
It's called breaking.
yeah, wait.
Hey, we're proud of our break dance roots here.
Oh man.
So, what Maka displayed at BC1 was like, for me, it was a clear night and day difference. And not to take away the talent of everybody else, but like Maka's level of dance and expression, it was like when she goes against other people and they like do their moves and like basically, to put it simply, Maka can make something so simple look so fresh because of the feeling she has behind
Well,
it.
there's
connection she has
so
to the
that's
music.
what I was gonna say is that what I saw, and again, all the talent was great. Even I saw the final battle against Sunny, and Sunny's a freaking amazing competitor. She killed it, you know.
Yeah.
But you know, and honestly, you know, they're both so dope that it really comes down to somebody just bringing something else. And I think what Maka brought, from my perspective watching the battle, and again, I wasn't there, so I saw it from a video. I know everything's different in person, but for what I saw is just maturity and the dance and the connection to the music and to the moment was mature. It made sense.
Her approach.
So the approach was very, very different. And again, Sunny did awesome. I mean, that her rounds were tough to beat, like they were. But it again, maybe the judges, and it's again not to knock Sunny, but maybe the judges just felt Maka more.
Yeah.
You know, and
They place more of a value.
they
on-
placed more
on the
value on the feeling and the dance, and it was great to witness because BC1 is known as a platform for big moves and big this and flashy things and flashy moves. So to have someone like Maka win, and especially at a Red Bull event, was a big deal. You know, it was a big deal. That's the first time a Monster person wins. I've battled there. Gravity's battled there. That's the first time, you know, a Monster athlete wins at a Red Bull event. You know, and so that meant a lot to us, and I know it meant a lot to her, and she deserves that. She deserves that because again, styles like her, that like how she breaks and how she dances, I don't feel they get the recognition or the appreciation that it deserves because she's not going out there and flying and disappearing. She's going out there and feeling and rocking what's happening inside her at that moment.
Yeah.
And adapting to the environment and the atmosphere, and she killed it, man. That's why I wanted to bring her up because shoot, much love to her and everything that she's doing, and it was a good win for us.
Now she's going into the elephant's den in India.
She's going to the elephant's den, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, to the curry den.
So that should
Yeah.
be interesting. She's gonna kill it over there.
Yeah, man, and so yeah, hopefully
We might just turn her into one big M claw somehow to battle on stage.
Just gonna paint her green.
See,
Yeah.
Can we paint Maka green?
Just paint it so they can't. No
Just
effects.
have like lime green strikes of paint,
So when
stripes
when
of
she
paint,
takes the
paint on
winner,
her.
when she takes the winner's photo, now there's gonna be no way, undisputedly, that she ain't gonna be repping in that.
And if she
final
does lose a round, she leaves like mad green paint on the floor for her opponents to slip on.
Yeah.
day. Oh man.
Yeah, shout out to Maka,
Shout
man.
out to
Nah,
Maka
but
Malik.
I don't know, man. If there are any like final words that you can say to like, you know, people that are, you know, looking or desiring to one day become sponsored or be a part of a brand? And I'm not just talking about Monster, but just anybody. Like,
no, it's one of the
what would
things
you
that,
recommend?
that I always tell the team is write a proposal, and send it to 20 brands, 50 brands, but brands that really fit what you represent in your image. You're not gonna if you don't drink energy drinks, if that's not what you want, you are against the whole energy drink category. Don't go after Red Bull. Don't go after Monster. It's just it needs to be legitimate. And you try 20 different brands, 5 of them might call you back. And out of those 5,
none of them might call you.
Maybe 3 of them or 2 of them are a fit, and maybe out of all that, 1 of them is a successful relationship. But it's just try. Expose yourself, be out there, become visible. Make sure that you're active on social media. That is huge. Make sure you grow your social media. Those are the things that brands look for. So. And also how you carry yourself. And
personally, as like a manager at Monster and what you do in the department that you work for, what do you expect from like your athletes and your artists that you sponsor?
Well, very simply, it's somebody that wears the brand.
Yeah.
Like, we want to support you, but we also want to be recognized as, hey, this is somebody that we work with. So if you're an athlete for a certain brand, but you never want to rock it, there's no social media from it, what's the point? We're just giving money to just some person.
Yeah.
It's show love. Show that you also represent what that
you
brand
care
stands
and that you're
for.
loyal.
Yeah. Because, and also leverage that brand. There's a corporation or a company that's saying, hey, what this person is doing, what this b-boy or this b-girl is doing is awesome. And we want to be associated with it. That says a lot. That says a lot about who you are as a person and an athlete. Like, carry that, because you essentially have a resume. You can use that with other brands and just go, hey, brand X, brand Y, brand Z, they support me. Like, this is how I can help you out and help your brand out. So that I think, just very simply, do your job.
Man, we should charge. We should charge for this episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, you owe us.
Wait, what?
You need an increase on my contract.
So who do I send the invoice to? Is it Break Free or?
You can talk to Sam
Cosmo.
at the front desk.
Yeah, Cosmo at breakfreeworldwide.com. Last question. Who's your favorite breakdancer?
B-Boy Jose.
That's a good answer.
I'll start breaking one of these days.
Because that's the only breakdancer I know. The rest are B-boys and B-girls. It's breaking! Yo, thank you, bro. Thank you for sharing the knowledge and being here and educating some people on the story and branding and all that good stuff. And so hopefully people kind of take it into consideration and try to make some big moves for themselves.
Where we going to today? Let everyone know.
Got to hit the road, man. In a couple hours, about to hit the road. We got this program called, a retail program that we do with Monster. We go out and set up activations, Break Free Live. We go out, perform, b-boying, DJing, beatboxing, MCing, and we're doing 2 military bases in the next 2 days. So we're doing San Antonio, Fort Sam in San Antonio, and then Fort Hood in Killeen on Friday. So Thursday and Friday, and then we got another. Yep. And then we got another show in Katy, Texas, which is right outside of Houston, at a Walmart. So on Saturday. So a lot of big moves. Catch us at a city near you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I appreciate you coming.
Thanks, guys.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you.
Thank you, boys.
Yes, sir. Hey, you want a Monster?
Sure.
Have you ever wanted to have your own TV show? We can make that happen at Houston Media Source. When you walk in the door, all you need is an idea. We have everything you need. Studios, cameras, lights, microphones, and more. All professional quality and state-of-the-art. Get started by attending one of our free orientation sessions every Monday at 6 p.m. at our studios at 410 Roberts near Minute Maid Park. Get more information online at hmstv.org. Make your voice heard with Houston Media Source.